Hey everybody, this is Erica from the Classy Climb blog. It's another late series here at night, but I had to do it. I just had to talk about it. People are always saying, Erica, you don't understand. We lived in the inner city. You don't understand. I come from a poor neighborhood, or just me and my single parent mom. Listen, that is a disservice to all the millions, and I mean millions, of young men and women who finish high school, go off to college, live great lives, get married, have kids, and come from single parent homes. It's just a disservice. And people say, Eric, you don't understand. I'm in Chicago, ducking bullets, doing this, doing that. What I do understand about Chicago is it's chocked full of museums, jobs, international culture. And I hear teachers all the time say, I have a classroom full of students who haven't even been downtown to see a museum yet. Could you imagine that? Living in a city and haven't even had the parent or grandparent take the time to take you downtown to see a museum in your own city. Now I go, well, it's a big city, Erica. It's a big city. Yeah. I've met people in the South, in Raleigh and Charlotte, even in Austin, Texas. There's museums in those smaller cities, and people still do not take the children to those museums. It's not about the child's environment. It's not about the child coming from a single parent home. It's what the single parent and the environment is. If your mom is young and all she wants to do is party and listen to music and relax because she has this stressful life, it's not creative and it's not productive. Okay? But if your mom surrounds you with art, museums, books, education, reading, that's where the power happens. That's where the magic happens. You're just indoctrinated. Now, lucky me, lucky my family. My mother, I did have a stepfather growing up after my parents divorced. But what I always tell people is I had an aunt who worked at the library. So I spent whole summers just in the library getting books, going to special programs when someone came, some author from out of town, or there was some kids book reading, or some activity that was interesting. We got to go up there and hang out for hours. Most people go, oh my God, you're unsupervised. No, my aunt would come around and be like, no, that's my son, that's his cousins, whatever. She'd clarify. My mother was in the military, so, sometimes she had long afternoons. And the thing about it is, my mom was a reader. She was a reader, and she just loved the History Channel. Now, she usually loved it for the military section, if not, just albeit the History Channel. So what happened? Me and my sister and my brother were just repeatedly exposed to the History Channel. Repeatedly exposed to National Geographic. Repeatedly exposed to reading. I'm a lover of books. I love writing books now, and I love reading them. Because I understand the power of a child, if you can read well, to be able to just disappear inside of a book. To just completely grasp the concept and understand I can do this. I'm capable and smart enough to do this. This is why it's such a disservice for young single parents or young parents, or just disadvantaged parents, or parents working too many hours to not make sure their kids can read by 3rd and 4th grade. Now, 3rd and 4th grade is a watershed mark in most kids' lives. If they have trouble reading in 3rd and 4th grade, unfortunately, it's hard to get the ship turned around. The statistics show that 70% chance they'll be on welfare, food stamps, and they may go to jail. Because reading, if there's a child in 5th grade not being able to read well, or functionally illiterate, which I hear from teachers all the time, it's a disservice. It's completely a disservice. Their parents should be taken outside and whipped behind the shed, as they so say in the South. Why? Because you've already chosen the trajectory of that child's life. I'll meet parents who have 2-parent homes and their kids struggling at school, and people will go, why don't you get some tutoring? Oh man, tutoring is like $200 a month. But you'll see them in brand new clothes and brand new shoes and a brand new car around tax season. Instead of simply going, my child needs this. My child needs this tutoring more than anything. And this is the thing. People all the time, teachers have some sad horror stories, but teachers will see there'll be kids that are dyslexic. And the mom goes, I don't believe you. I read to my child every night. And she goes, there's no way. If you were reading to your child every night and he was reading to you, you would know. He didn't understand. He didn't comprehend. And it's the basics. Nowadays many women are working And we all understand that. We have to work to live, if that's your mindset, but guess what? What works best, historically, statistically? Two-parent homes. Mom spending extra time with a child under age of 6 and 7. Why? Because usually, if mom's home, she's teaching you how to read. She's teaching you how to write. She's teaching you what your name looks like. There are horror stories of people sending their child to kindergarten and the child doesn't even know. Like, they'll see their name on paper and have no clue that that's their name. That's a damn shame. It's just an absolute shame. And listen, if you're a single parent mom home, and you're receiving welfare and you're receiving assistance, that's fine as long as you're investing into that child. That's what the benefits are for you to take that time home to completely invest in the child. But what we're seeing is that's not how it works for a lot of people. And I'm telling you, everybody I've met who comes from single parent homes, the way they have made it, the way they have survived, the way they have triumphed is because they were associated with great people, sports, and books. I know people are like, oh man, Erica, here you go with those books again. I'm sorry, it's just a common denominator. They read something, they realize, wow, I don't have to just go in the military. I can be a nurse, or I can go to college, or I can go on to the next thing. I've read it, I've understand it, I've comprehended. A way for you not to be average, to just not be average. The average American reads one book a year. One book a year. If you just take the audacity to read 3 books this year, you will be an all-star, okay? Because you're beating average. There's so many people out the college who do not read again. I mean, they may skim some blogs here or there. They may skim a paragraph in a magazine, but they don't really sit down and read and study. That's why we have some of the highest demographics of 45 to 54 unemployed. Because people quit reading, people quit studying, people quit finding ways to solve their problems. Guess what? Answers are in books. So look, you may say, Erica, you don't understand. Single parent, working long hours, grandparents kind of helping. Well, this is what you need. You need a Saturday where they're in some kind of reading program, some kind of tutoring program. They're going to see museums, they're going to the park, they're getting some outside air. Somewhere in that schedule, you have to mix and mingle them getting more training, hands-on, more book reading. I mean, literally, the teachers have a little diagram that goes out every school year. And it says, an A student reads an hour a day. An hour a day equals, at some point in the school year, it equals 6,000 hours or something like that. I mean, it's a ton of books. They've read several books by the end of the year. A student that reads 30 minutes a day for the whole school year will be a BC student. A student that reads maybe 4 minutes, 5 minutes a day will barely have read one book over the course of the school year. How sad is that? How sad is that we know? I mean, I am in my hometown helping my sister here and there, helping with my family, and I've actually sat down and like, hey, nephew, you need to read for 30 minutes. The look on that kid's face is the struggle. I understand that. But they have to have 30 minutes where they're not glued to some game, some Xbox, some TV, some non-animated thing. It just is what it is. And if they're going to watch TV, sorry, it's not Nick, it's not video games, it's just Nat Geo and History Channel. And everybody's like, well, you're just taking all the fun out of childhood. No, I'm not. There have studies showing that young boys completely enjoy the History Channel more than regular cartoons. Why? Because it's usually as of late, History Channel is full of war, battles, interesting history. It has the military section on Saturdays. It's interesting stuff. And they've made their channel that way on purpose. So look, history's great. You need it. You need to learn it. Don't do your child a disservice by not making sure they can read, they can write, they've seen at least one museum in their life, and they're surrounded by some good people. It's possible. Folks, there's millions of children coming out of bad situations making a great life for themselves. There's millions of immigrants coming to this country through bad circumstances, through American hard work, reading and associating with great people, living their slice of the American dream. It's possible. Just inundate that child, immerse that child, flood that child with the good stuff. and watch what pours out. But you can't just hope. You can't just wish. You can't just pray and pray that they'll be safe in that dangerous neighborhood, that they'll have a great life if you haven't put any work in. I've worked in daycares. I've worked and seen children who no one's putting any time into that child. They just run around wow and unconcentrated, doesn't even know how to write his name, doesn't know the alphabet, and he's 3 and 4 years old. I can tell you what that mother's doing. Nothing. I can speak to her and be like, hey, are you guys doing the alphabet every night? And she could lie to me, but she would know she would be lying because he's already behind. That's the scary part. There are some kids who are reading in kindergarten. I remember my sister being able to count to 100 and read in kindergarten, and her teacher was blown away. But yes, she thought, well, she's underage. She started kindergarten at 4. I want to hold her back a year so she's more mature. My mother almost went down to that school and tore that building apart. Because how dare you not judge on the basis of her knowing her math, knowing her reading, having appropriate skills, but just judging off the basis of her age. That's the problem with the school system. They cannot provide individual learning for your child. And I've heard firsthand from teachers who say, you know what? I can tell the mother doesn't care at home, and I'm not going to care either. I've actually heard that. Almost broke my heart at a happy hour, but I know it's true. You have 30 students in a room and only 10 came to learn. You have to focus on that 10. They can't focus on your child the way you would want someone to focus on your child. That's your damn job. Stop delegating your job to someone else. It's not the teacher's job to make magic. It's your job to reinforce what is being taught at school. If you're not sitting down, make sure your child's reading 30 minutes a day minimum. Make sure your child's doing their homework. You failed. I'm sorry. We want to give people grace and say, well, you tried your best. I don't know how your son turned out that way. We all know how he turned out that way. You didn't invest enough. You did not invest enough. So look, this is Erica, Classy Climb Blog. You want to have future generations go, man, my mom's sacrifice made it possible for me to be here, me to have this healthy life, me to have this great wife and kids, etc., etc. So what is it going to take? It's going to take you investing in those kids, immersing them in knowledge, good books, good audiobooks is my point. Because a lot of times young boys hate reading, young girls maybe get bored. Audiobooks all the way. You guys, this is Erica from the Classy Climb Blog. Thanks for listening. And if you're on YouTube, thanks for watching.